And now, your official TigerBait live show with Mike Scarborough and Buddy Songy starts now.
All right, everybody, welcome into another edition of TigerBait Live. Mike Scarborough here with Buddy Songy, and we got a big show tonight. Obviously, LSU men's and women's basketball with 2 wins. Big win from Matt McMahon and his team last night with their first SEC win over John Calipari and Arkansas in the PMAC. Really fun second half to watch, and we'll see. Buddy set the over and under at 3 wins for the men's basketball team. Well, they've got one of them now, so. We'll talk about that. The LSU women's, obviously Monday night, big win over Vanderbilt, and heading to Gainesville for a game on Sunday. We will not be getting Kim Mulkey for a press conference before they head out. We'll get her next week before they go to South Carolina. So we'll have that, and we can talk some LSU baseball. I'm told we get Jay Johnson next Friday for media day. And so baseball practice is starting, and what else are we going to talk about? Transfer portal. That's the headline of the show, or part of the headline. And LSU with a couple of nice gets since our last show. We can discuss that and much more. And, of course, brought to you by Pride Roofing, our title sponsor for many years now, and many others that we're going to get to and talk about throughout the show. Please hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. And hit that share button. Please share our show to your social media, and share the link out. Text it out to some of your fellow LSU buddies. Much appreciated. Welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you, Mike Scarborough, of course, the publisher at TigerBait.com. Let's rock and roll tonight. Let's get some interaction with all of you great viewers out there. Hey, look, starting to rain. In case you don't know, we're going to have a couple of days here where it gets to about 60 degrees, maybe 65 on Saturday. And then the Arctic air is coming in. So if you had not done your due diligence with your pipes and all the things, taking care of your older neighbors or whatever, get ready, because we've got a 2 or 3
days of 20s.
Well, I mean, come on, weather people are worse than sportscasters predicting this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But when you say 20s, maybe 28, 29, but going to be appreciably colder. It's hot, as Mike alluded to. A big tight end, Donovan Green, 6'4", about 255, 260. I think he's more of a blocker. I think Bauer Sharp is going to be more of a receiving tight end along with Trey'Dez Green. And then, of course, Tamarcus Cooley that we were all worried about, that after he
nice get.
Yeah, a nice get. And I did a little research. CJ Jim Coley and Jace Thomas and some other guys, Joel Rogers last year. There are more bodies, but I think still the big question for LSU fans, who are going to be those starting safeties, and if Jordan Gilbert can play consistently the way he did in the bowl game. But all of that, and let's have a little fun tonight.
All that, and Brady Quinn sticking his foot in it and getting everybody riled up with his comments about him not liking Brian Kelly's comments a few years ago, and how he personally went out and created a collective and blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. Sounds like the typical Notre Dame fans that we get in our chat every week. So if you guys want to discuss that, we can. Did you see those comments? Or
I did not see that, but I just know.
He said it made him mad. So he put his money where his mouth is and created a collective. And look, I think Ohio State's going to beat him by several touchdowns.
Well, look, I want to.
So Freeman will have done nothing more than Brian Kelly did.
Well, first of all, we do an LSU podcast, and it says a lot when you have the Notre Dame people coming in here, and they want –
and some of them are good, to be fair.
But they want to be relevant, okay? And they did beat a guy, James Franklin, who, by the way, is 1-18.
Penn State should never be in the national discussion ever.
But they were good this year.
Always a fraud.
They had a good team this year. But
no,
when
they did.
They did. They had a good team this year. Come on now.
By their standards, but they never achieve anything.
But when they get inside the red zone, he poo-poos on himself. I hate to be so graphic, but he cannot. And then not to play for overtime. James Franklin is 1-18. against top 5, AP top 5 opponents through his career. Now, Brian Kelly doesn't have a gaudy record either, and they're all selling this about Marcus Freeman. Everybody with Notre Dame is worried about Marcus Freeman going coach the Bears. Don't worry. He's not going anywhere.
What is James Franklin's record over a lifetime against Ohio State and Michigan?
It's like over.
Yeah.
That's what we were just saying. But my point
is
that
Lane Kiffin of that league.
They did get into the championship game, and they will get relevance if they win the Natty. But Brady Quinn has been one of the biggest D-bags in South Bend, Indiana for years. And anybody that's ever watched him or listened to him knows that. He is the president of the D-bag class. Well, so Brady, we could care less what you say.
Well, he's still butthurt over what happened in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jamarcus Russell knocked him out of the top spot.
It wasn't even close. But look, good for the Domers. And we will come back and give them props if they win it. But I'm with you. I think Ohio State rolls them. But look, they've had a good year. And here's the big difference, Mike. I want to make sure people understand this. They went out and got some important pieces in the portal. This is how you win in college football now. Herb Street is saying SHIT on national TV because he's mad because everybody's saying Ohio State bought this team and bought a championship. And everybody's buying it. Saban and Kirby and everybody was buying it before they had NIL. So everybody's been bought through the years. Come on. Billy Cannon was bought. Everybody was bought. But the bottom line is that that's the way you do business now. And the one thing that does give LSU fans hope is that BK finally saw the light and said, I've got to go out there and throw that P word around. Pay. We've got to pay players. He don't want to overpay, but 16 coming in here, 8 on offense, 7 on defense, 1 very important special team player and a punter, Grant Chatwood. So we'll see. But give Notre Dame credit. They brought in a kicker. They brought in a quarterback. They brought in DBs. They brought in a bunch of people. And that running back is one of the best.
I can't wait for spring football.
But my point is that they did a great job in the portal, but I still think the jury's out on Marcus Freeman.
Yep.
And we'll see. He might be the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Look, here's the thing. You don't denigrate anybody who's going to be playing for a national championship, okay? But this truly is, Freeman did not inherit a bare cupboard from Brian Kelly. All right. And Notre Dame is still a huge brand. Yeah, they haven't won a national title since 1988, but it's a huge brand. And we'll see if they can sustain this and if it means anything long term. But I think Ohio State's going to be in about 2 touchdowns minimum.
By the way, I did predict Notre Dame to beat Georgia. I did predict Penn State to beat Notre Dame, but we sit here and said how bad James Franklin is. Mike, he's got all these opportunities. Then he gets the ball back with 42 seconds left. And like a complete dumbass, tries to go down and get in position for a field goal and throws an INT. His quarterback played bad the whole game. And so they have had an easy route to get to the championship. Nobody's going to take that away from them. But look, no SEC team for the second consecutive year in the championship. I know you were pulling against Texas. By the way, I was
pulling against every SEC team. I don't want any of them in.
I was interacting with Dr. John Sibley Butler before the game, and he was all wound up. And then I didn't say anything. I let him. He had one word after the game. Wow. But on the 1-yard line, really bad play call from 21 to 14. It goes 28-14. It should have been tied up.
I've been out of pocket all day. What about this Sark stuff in the Cowboys? Is that something?
Anybody that wants to go work for Jer is got
the money's always big.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Jerry Jones he might win an Emmy for what he's seen on Landman last week. He was really good in that episode.
They probably won't ever win one until Jerry dies, and who knows if they'll win one afterwards. But yeah, he did say Sark was going to talk to the Cowboys, but it's a jilted lover syndrome for every college fan base when that coach loses. Look, we saw it with Nick. Nick was talking to Chicago Bears after year 3, I think. Remember? And so, look, Jim Harbaugh was talking to
that was at the point where LSU fans were saying, now we understand why Michigan State fans were always upset about Saban, because every year he was flirting with teams and And it was kind of aggravating LSU fans, if you remember that.
But it's better to have somebody coveting your coach than not wanting him.
Right.
And so anyway, long story short, it's been an interesting year. I think they're going to tweak the seating. I think they're going to tweak a couple of things in the CFP 12. And then, of course, as we get into 26, it'll be 14. But Tiger fans, you're going to have a roster that's got more experience and more depth. And we'll get out there early in March at spring ball and start to tell you the ins and outs of it.
All right, let's hear from Mike and Alex at Pride, and then we're going to come back and dive into your question and comments right after.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm little Alex.
Have you been affected by wind, hail, and tornadoes on the North Shore? Well, we're here to help.
Insurance claim, no problem.
We also have a new franchise location in New Orleans.
We don't build projects, we build memories.
Though you know Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Remember to call us at
855-PRIDE-16.
855-PRIDE-16. Say you want a free roof inspection in TigerBait, and you're going to get TigerBait Premium free for a year. And they really highly covet your business. Give Pride Roofing a call. Nobody does it better in South Louisiana. Of course, Mike Faraday, a Broadmoor High and an LSU grad. I've known him in my entire life, him and his whole family. Super people. Home office in Hammond, of course, and a location here, brand new location here in Baton Rouge, Homa, the North Shore, all throughout South Louisiana in a big way. Let Pride Roofing earn your business. And as I've been telling you all each and every week, if you've got another bid on letterhead from a competing roofing company, Michael beat that bid by $150. You can't beat it. And what's really great about them is they always have $2 to $3 million worth of shingles in their yard ready to go. They're not having to order stuff and things being on back order, and all of it's above builder grade. They use the highest quality shingles. And of course, like Buddy talks about with the acquisition of Crown Metal, metal roofs are really big right now. And I'm really liking a lot of the homes I see around Baton Rouge that are going to metal roofs. I think it's a really nice look, and you want to talk about last a long time. Yeah.
My producer, Don, did business with Mike, got a new roof a couple of weeks ago. We've had a lot of people off of radio, TV, YouTube. By the way, is TikTok really going to be gone here in another week or so?
I just saw a video where a couple of senators wanted to extend the deadline, and Tom Cotton from Arkansas wasn't having it. So it's about to end.
I was just going to say, back on TikTok.
See if Mr. Wonderful can buy it at the last minute.
Mike and Alex check all the boxes. They're great people. They take great pride. You'll take great pride. They do it the right way. They'll get there early. They'll get you done, clean up. And once again, as Mike said, metal roofs, that game has changed. Residential, commercial, whatever it is, always a free roofing inspection, 855-PRIDE-16. And Mike will personally go out on calls when Mike Scarborough and Buddy Songy give them the lead. So do business with them. You will not be disappointed. And you know what? I'm going to say it right now. You're going to have pride in this frickin' 2025 LSU defense. And I'm putting up the big number, Blake Baker, 40 sacks. I'm looking for 40 sacks from this team, 2025. All those guys they got coming back, the 3 edge rushers coming in, and Perk coming back, gotta. Yeah, I'm going to do another T-shirt. I'll tell you about my T-shirt in the spring, but I'm going to do another T-shirt, gotta. And that's what I want to see Blake Baker and that defense do. Get after their you-know-what.
Dane Bergeron with a super chat. Thank you, Dane. Says, Buddy, how dare you say Billy Cannon was bought? That is blasphemy. He was a model citizen. Of course, there was some sarcasm. Dr. Daniels says hello. Dwayne D. Notre Dame is about to get slapped around. Let me scroll up and get some the early ones. LSU men beats basketball, shoots 93% from the free throw line. They were incredible. Of course, Arkansas fans will complain about how often LSU got to the line, but it was a really nice second half of basketball. I enjoyed watching that.
I got to say, I've been very critical of their style of play, and we've been talking about it. And just the basic fundamentals, spacing, get farther apart. They were so bunched up and all that dribble, pass the ball, 11 blocks. Damian Collins, Rob Miller, all those guys were skying to make blocks, shot fantastic at the free throw lines. Screw the Arkansas fans. They got John Calipari, and they got all that money in Arkansas, and Calipari looks like a washed up. He don't look right.
Well, I mean, Will Wade had his number, and now look
Matt
at
McMahon's getting his second year in a row. He's going to get a Christmas card from Matt McMahon for beating him. But look, that being said, they had some atrocious calls at the end of the game where they tried to get – now, they did make one bad call on a flagrant one on a kid who just screened. Of course, as we saw, there was a flagrant run on Miller. But look, Arkansas fans, you got a long way to go. LSU fans, enjoy it. I'm hoping they can win 5 or 6. But, yeah, talking to my guy, Henry Hayes, we said 3 or 4 games would probably be the over and under going into the game last night. So we'll see. But SEC loaded with men's and women's. Lady Tigers, once again, Gainesville Sunday, next Thursday night at South Carolina. Going to be a great ball game.
When was the last time South Carolina lost at home?
It's
years. Yeah, that's a crazy number.
Yeah. What is it?
I'm not picking that. That's going to be a loss.
Yeah.
Look, you never know. Someone gets hot. I don't know. But
well, the problem that Lady Tigers have is the bigs. And Anissa Morrow cannot do it all. She's got to have some help from Jersey, got to have some help from Samaya, because they'll wear her down if she doesn't have any help down there.
Chance, Bab, and Mike, when will you and Kendall start the baseball show? We've been playing phone tag. It'll either be next week or the following week, I think. I'm going to try and push for next week. And so we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to it. Of course, Kendall with D1 Baseball, a lot of the publications like D1 Baseball and I trust Kendall in that group's poll more than anybody's, have LSU number 3. And I think Jay likes being in that spot. But media day next Friday for LSU baseball, and then practice will open up. I think we'll get player interviews and get to film a little bit of practice. And a lot of people are excited about that.
By the way, if you hadn't heard, looks like Braswell is going to start off at third. Monster Milam is moving from second to short. Dickinson coming in from the portal going to play second. Jared Jones at first, a ton of depth at catcher. And then a lot of guys in the outfield. Incredible arms, incredible depth. William Schmidt, one of the best freshmen to come in here from Catholic High. Chase Shores, a big 6'8".
Chase Shores is the one.
245 pounds. So they are loaded, but so is about 4 other SEC teams.
Chase Shores is the guy that's going to be the difference maker, I think.
Yeah.
Well, they got a lot of difference makers on that team.
Sure.
But all right, here we go. Count the money. Good evening. How about Brady Quinn affirming Kelly's point that Notre Dame didn't invest enough in football until Kelly burned them in 22? Dwayne, he says, LSU fans should pay attention to what Brady Quinn is talking about and stop crying. It's gotten so bad that I'm pulling for a hated Ohio State to pulverize Notre Dame. Yeah, it's crazy, ain't it? I'm pulling for Ohio State. I'm no big fan of theirs, but I'd much rather the Buckeyes win one than Kirby Smart win another one. No way do I want to see Texas win one. Who else was in there? I wouldn't for any of it. So, yeah. The funniest part is that Quinn started the collective on his own, not the school. Again, proving the school didn't care. Here we go. Aaron with a football question. We'd love to see some of LSU's young linebackers get some snaps next year. Keys look great in the bowl game. There's got to be some place for some of the mega talented linebackers, i.e. Charles Ross.
Tylen Singleton is a guy that played a little bit in the special teams. Devon Keys had a pick 6 in the bowl game. Look, you're going to have Wes Weeks back. You're going to have Whit Weeks back. You're going to have Zach Weeks, who just played in this all-star game last weekend. I didn't see much of it, but he was out there. Charles Ross. You got linebackers for days. LSU is going to be –
that's the strongest team on the defense.
They've got a lot of linebackers, so I'm in agreement with and it will be interesting.
But I'm excited about the defensive line and all those edge rushers. People ask me, what's the – I mean, look, obviously when you do what the LSU did in the portal at wide receiver, that's exciting. But I'm excited about those edge rushers. I think that can be a real difference on this team.
And because the secondary has been so weak, the quicker you get to the quarterback, the more it helps your DBs and your corners. Can't wait to see Mansour Delane and all those guys at corner. And, of course, DJ Pickett. Something tells me this guy is going to be hard to keep off the field in 2025.
Yeah. And, look, I wanted to see Spears. I thought he would have come along later. Nobody's really talking about him anymore.
Got to turn the light on.
Yeah.
Once he knows it. Football is so fast, folks. You can't be thinking out there. You've got to know to do it naturally. And I was a little disappointed Spears did not get better this year.
Barry Barbier spoke to Andy Cannizaro today. He's now back in baseball, has a job with the Dodgers as a scout. Okay, well, so does our friend of the show, Benny Latino, is with the Dodgers out of Hammond. Carl Dunn, it was nice to see LSU make free throws last night, 9% from the line. And for the record, I have stopped caring about Notre Dame and their fans.
Carl the Cat in retirement, still did a good job. Final polls released. He was 23 after his performance.
Got in the teens?
That was here locally, but he finished 22. Eddie Fuller's still the number one high school referee in the city, but Carl the Cat came in at number 22. Congratulations, moving on up, Carl.
I have a feeling you're going to have him in the top 10 the day he retires.
He's getting better, and of course, his calls this year was sponsored by Coca-Cola.
All right, Dane Bergeron, Quinn got his ass stomped by LSU the Sugar Bowl. Yeah, just like I said, Rick Cloetti says same thing. LSU crushed him in the Superdome. Hal Jubin, big basketball fan, friend of the show. Hey, Mike, how about the Tigers basketball teams? Women are 4-0, and the men finally got a win. Look, man, it's – how far do you think the women can go? I was thinking second round, Sweet 16. Can they if KG is on fire in a Sweet 16 game, can they get to an Elite Eight, or do you already have them in the Elite Eight?
Well, I want to see how Miracle develops because she was supposed to be a defensive stopper. And quite frankly, Mike, they're not going real far until they start stopping dribble drive penetration. They continue to let these guards and everybody just dribble, and it's either a layup or a 5-footer. And until Bob Starkey can get them to play better defense, we don't know. We'll see what happens with South Carolina. But KG, the problem with her is that she's an offensive player, and she does not look to pass. And let me tell you what, if you don't pass to Flaugier and Michaela and Anissa Morrow, at some point there's going to be a chemistry problem. So you got to solve that problem right now. Now you got to get Jersey and Samaya to play a little bit better and give them some minutes. And you got to get 6'6" Aaliyah Del Rosario to give them 5 or 6 minutes for fouls and defensive. So it's a work in progress. Coach Mulkey's going to bring them along.
Dale Brown was in the PMAC last night. Maybe you can get a copy of the freak defense.
By the way, I meant to ask you, did they take down the Dale Brown court? I don't see it on TV anymore.
It's staggered. It faces one side on one side of the court.
Okay. I was wondering because I don't see it anymore. But look, that was a big win for Coach McMahon. The biggest problem they have, though, is that the SEC is loaded with about 5 teams in the top 10. And so, but I've never seen them protect the rim and play
look,
defense
there's something to be said
did.
for being undefeated. They played some really decent teams. But certainly you're going up a whole other level at South Carolina. Yeah. Are you now looking at them as, Texas has slipped a bit. Can they win in Austin?
By the way, Dr. Butler will be there with some LSU fans. Wanted to know if you were going to get on the plane and fly over there for that game.
He's got a room set up for me?
I don't know. We'll have to talk to
Pre-game meal?
But
we're going to be there covering it.
Look, Lady Tigers, you asked me how far they're going to go. I want to see how they put the surrounding pieces together. There's 4 or 5 they can depend on. But the 7th, 8th lady that has to come up and play a role, they don't have a Jasmine.
I'll ask you folks in the chat. You give me your answer in the chat. Who would win in a game? Mulkey's first team in Baton Rouge or this team? I've had that thought in my head.
I don't know.
It'd be close, I think.
Yeah, well, All I care about is what this team does. And I'll tell you that first year with Mulkey, they overachieved. I want this team to overachieve. But look, they're going to be there, and they're probably going to be a seeded team. And as long as they're in the top, when they get their first 2 rounds here in the PMAC, they'll be Sweet 16 for sure.
Brad DeVito, I agree, Mike. I never understood LSU fans to cheer for the SEC. We should. I think it's getting to be that way across. It's not just us. I think a lot of people realize that you don't want to see Kirby Smart and Georgia get another one. You certainly didn't want to see Alabama get there again. Dr. Butler, I'm sorry, but nobody wants Texas to win it. Cowboys will interview Deion Sanders. Okay.
Deion Sanders, Sark. I mean, who's going to end up with the job? But Jerry is a mess to work for because he can't keep his hands off of the product. Obviously, he's a billionaire.
And there he is, Dr. Butler. Players started running and playing and forgot about the coach and go Tigers.
Yeah. Well, that's a gut punch when you're at the 1 yard line and you're down a touchdown. And you call that play and then have the turnover, and it's all of a sudden 14-point differential. We talk about play calling in the red zone, inside the 5. It is so important. A lot of times it determines victory and defeat. But Dr. Butler's as classy as it gets, and a Hall of Famer at LSU and Texas. So I know that was a tough one for him to swallow.
All right, I'm really excited. They've been on board with us now. Starting off the new year, Dykes Electrical, the official electrical company of TigerBait.com. And no matter how big or small your electrical needs may be, Dykes is wired for success. Need a brand new 10-story office building? We can wire that. 200,000 square foot warehouse you need built? We can wire that. Expanding your existing commercial building? We can wire that. Changing out a breaker, whole electrical panel, or just a receptacle in your home or office? They can wire that. And upgrading the old lighting in your home or office, they can wire that. Give them a call today at the number on your screen, 225-216-9180 for a free estimate on your project. And please make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in, a great Louisiana company right here in Baton Rouge, Dykes Electrical. And boy, they do big projects, small, they can do it all. And huge LSU fans with Dykes Electrical. All right. And I'll tell you what we also need to talk about. Your guys, Mandas.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
The flavor says it all, huh, buddy?
Well, listen, folks, it's going to get mighty cold. Nobody does it better than the gumbos, the red beans and rice or white beans and whatever you want. Put that Manda sausage, of course, that Buddha Incredible on the grill. When you go to your local supermarket and deli, make it a no-brainer, folks. As always, Manda Fine Meats for flavor and spice. And him and me, Mike and Buddy, really do say it all.
Yeah, Dr. Butler with a super chat. Thank you, Dr. Butler. This women's team can hit you in so many ways. So many players can beat you. This is the best team Mulkey has had. Do you agree? I don't agree. Do you?
No,
but
it's still in development stage.
But the thing about it is like we're comparing it to her previous teams, and man, a lot of this depends on the draw you get in the tournament, buddy.
Uh-huh.
I mean, her goal is always to host. You get past that, you're in the Sweet 16 and you're on your way. They would have went further last year had they not gotten Iowa in that game.
And look, there was a real faux pas on who they put on Caitlin Clark. And I hope people let that go, but that was a real.
You're not letting it go.
No. To put Haley Van Lip on Caitlin Clark after she had put 40 on her the year before was just absolutely crazy. But the problem I see, and you're talking about comparing apples and apples with these teams, Jasmine Carson and LSU could light it up in 2022. She made 3 balls in that game. including one off the grass when they scored 50-something in the first half. I think the void of a three-point shooter is going to hold them back a little bit. If Jada Richard or somebody was in there and made 3 or 4 threes a game, would help them a lot. But they've got to look. It's early in the development stages, and what did we say? 13-3 in the conference. You're going to host a couple games in the Pete Maravich Assembly Center.
Dr. Butler, thank you for that. No, Danny Girl kind of agrees with my thinking. First team because of point guard play.
Yeah. Well, that's a big issue right now. Cheyenne Day Wilson, Lastia Poa, KG. Who are you going to put at point guard?
This team, if I'm Mulkey, first year she didn't have Reese, but she had some good players on that team. This team doesn't have Reese. So my question is the first team, what she mingled with what she that team made it to the Sweet 16.
All I know is that they had won 9 before. And
they lost second round to Ohio State. Right.
Yeah,
right.
But they went from 9 wins to like 23.
And that Ohio State team was pretty good.
Yeah. You know who was on that team, huh?
Yeah. Terry Poole.
Mike's favorite player.
That's your favorite.
His favorite player this year is Lastia Poa. Poa's struggling a little bit. I do agree with Danny Girl. As usual, she's spot on. Got to get consistent point guard play. And look, the 3 divas have got to get their points. You got to take care of Flauget. You got to take care of Michaela. You got to take care of Anissa. And Cheyenne Day Wilson played 32 minutes.
Moro is just unbelievable.
Oh, and see, that's the other thing that's come up on my show.
Talk about a great person as well.
But that comes up on my show now. People comparing who's better, Morrow or Angel Reese. So
they're 2 different players, but
Morrow's a better shooter. Reese brings some other stuff to the table.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody went after boards like Angel Reese, but the problem is she missed half her layups, so she got a lot of rebounds off her own misses.
Do you miss the drama?
Well,
with Reese,
nobody misses that, but that young lady.
Some of it was fun.
What's that?
Some of it was fun.
Yeah, some of it was fun until the mamas got involved.
Sometimes I wonder if a little drama isn't actually good at times. But it certainly makes those if they cover the beat. It makes it interesting.
By the way, Sports Illustrated came in, and you see this? I think it came out yesterday. Top 10 football teams of all time. You saw that? Sports Illustrated. LSU at 10, Bama 1. Just all the big guys, big boys were up there. But it's interesting. I know Notre Dame's got a lot of history, and Ohio State, Alabama, and so this championship game next Monday night. You like Notre Dame laying the points?
What is the line right now?
The last I heard it was 9.5. I hadn't checked it, but
I'd take Ohio State given the points.
Yeah. So. We'll see, Domers, if y'all can do something you hadn't done in 37 years. And we don't care what Brady Quinn says. Trust us.
Yeah, Rick Cloetti, Coach Mulkey coached her butt off the first year.
I think she's done that every year. I mean, you know what you get with Kim Mulkey.
Yep, Kim is an elite coach. Will definitely make some noise in the NCAA. Jimmy Page, Ohio State is better, but anything can happen. Where's that at? Jared Guillory, instead of focusing on a national title game, they're about to play. They are in here trying to roast Brian Kelly. Talking about Notre Dame fans.
And on the peripheral, they are worried about Marcus Freeman having an interview with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, they should be on Bucknuts live shows. They should be on they got about 8 strong Buckeye websites that do YouTube shows. I wonder if they're getting infiltrated by Notre Dame fans, or is it just the LSU shows? I'm
gonna call it for next year. How cool would it be if LSU and Notre Dame would play in the CLP playoffs? Now we know that
you hear the dogs barking, Mama's home.
We know that there's pressure for BK and LSU to get to the playoffs, and I expect Notre Dame to get back again next year. But That's what you got to do. Let's settle it on the field. Notre Dame's better than LSU this year. I don't think anybody is going to question that. Notre Dame did what they had to do to put themselves in a position to compete for the championship with the transfer portal. But you know what? They lose a lot, and that's what you have to do every year. It's incredible turnover. And then Ryan Day, can he? There were rumors about a month ago that they were
lose to Michigan.
Yeah, there were bad rumors about his future. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, look, Buckeye fans are crazy.
Oh yeah,
they can win the national title next week, and he's still got an asterisk next to his name because he lost to Michigan in the regular season. Yeah.
Well, they are the team that were in the four that had won it, and so 11 years for Ohio State last time they won it, and we shall see. But look, I was going to say Riley Leonard and Will Howard, the two quarterbacks, aren't going to solicit memories of Joe Burrow or Tua or Jalen Hurts or any of these great quarterbacks. They're guys that are big guys that get the most out of their talent. But it's kind of boring as football compared to the days of 19 and 20 with LSU and Bama doing so many great things throwing the football.
All right, Strubies, everybody. Of course, they've been with us all throughout football season and again in 2025. And all the TigerBait shows are proudly brought to you by Strubies and located at 107 3rd Street, downtown Baton Rouge. They pride themselves on providing 5-star dining at a reasonable price, locally owned, ownership in the building, and they've just taken a high level of pride, all great ingredients and fresh ingredients that you don't get at the corporate national chains. Full menu of specialty meats, including USDA Prime Black Angus, 100% certified Wagyu New York strip. And if you're looking for something not red meat wise, they got a great dry-aged pork chop, black truffle lobster pasta, redfish, and much more. You can book your reservation online at strubies.com or just go to strubies.com and look at the menu. And but whatever you do, when you go in, please tell the hostess or your waiter that TigerBait sent you in and let them know you heard about them. Really one of the great restaurants in Baton Rouge. And look, you go at night, parking is not a problem. And
look, I call the hostess every time we get ready to go over there, and she'll tell you where to park. She'll give you all the details. She'll tell you how crowded it is. I like the pork chop. You like the cowboy steak, but ribeye and many great. And we get to that C word, consistent, very consistent. But that
Absolutely.
pork chop will make you slap your grandma.
Absolutely, it's one of the hidden gems, so to speak, in Baton Rouge. Absolutely. And believe me, I'm a foodie as it gets. I like dining out. All right, let's see what we got now. All right, I might have to hit the block button on a few ND fans tonight. So I need to weed through some of them to get to some of your comments.
But why do they care what we say or think? Seriously.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what we got now. Pegasus J, I got no problem with Notre Dame. It's their obsession with BK that gets me. It's been 3 years, but they still can't let it go. Ding saying they don't care while being on an LSU chat. Yeah.
By the way, BK did make some statements. I'm sure everybody read them. And let it go. The same thing had to happen here in Baton Rouge. I call it the jilted lover syndrome. You slept in Brian Kelly's bed and he slept in their bed for what, 17, 18 years? Most wins ever. Notre Dame was crap before Brian Kelly got there. They were. You were. And all of a sudden, he went and brought them to heights that they hadn't been to. It's like anything else. You feed people filet mignon on a fan base. You don't want to go back to red beans and rice. Has he done great in the big games? No. He's done this. He's had the brook trout leg. He's laid an egg. And he's already done it over here at LSU. And this is going to determine the future of Brian Kelly in Baton Rouge the next 2 years if he can win big games. But you forget where you were when he got there, and you forget where you were when he left you. Billy Cannon always told me that. You judge a coach, Mike, by where that team was when you got there and where it was when you left. And did they leave Notre Dame a lot better off? I don't think anybody can question that. But if you want to continue to have the hate, fine. Right now, he's LSU and Baton Rouge's problem. You worry about what you got to do. But, you know, a lot of people tell me, oh, it's going to fire him up, all this talk and all that. He actually made a statement. And of course, we could read it all. But look, life's too short. Move on.
You know, look, one of the things that how many shows now throughout the transfer portal were the headlines of our shows and what we discuss about the great haul that Brian Kelly and his staff, Austin Thomas, everybody in that building and what they did. Well, a big part of that is NIL. It's in Bayou Traditions, and we're proud to have Bayou Traditions on board with us and to talk about them. It's to help raise awareness on how fans can provide funds to NIL opportunities to selected LSU student athletes. All contributors who support Bayou Traditions through the options below will receive 4 TIF points per $1,000 contributed, and these points will count towards your lifetime and philanthropic point totals. Donating is as simple as visiting the link in our description, BayouTraditionsCollective.com. That's BayouTraditionsCollective.com. Selecting the fund you would like to contribute to and entering payment information. If you want to set up a recurring payment, simply select the pledge option and they will follow up and then get that set up. Help the Tigers be great with the Bayou Traditions Collective, and they are doing absolute fine work. And the great thing about it is you get points for your TF points with that, and it's absolutely huge. I think LSU fans in the last several months or more have really started to realize how important the Bayou Traditions Collective is, and have given a lot more money. I think it's also important for LSU fans to know that, you know, a lot of LSU, you've got LSU fans that are mainly baseball or men's basketball. When you donate to the Bayou Traditions Collective, and if softball is your baby, if baseball is your baby, you put that, you make that known, or you write it on the memo of your check. And so that way you help those coaches. I'm sure Matt McMahon, where they're at with the collective, you know, he needs more dollars. They all need more dollars in order to go out and get those great players. You want LSU men's basketball to be better, then you need them to be higher up and not at the very bottom of the SEC as far as collective dollars.
Interesting you said that. My guest this week said that most teams in the SEC have about $4 or $5 million on their basketball payroll, NIL. He said LSU.
CNAC got $3 million by himself.
Who?
CNAC.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's Houston and Furman Fertitta.
Right.
But my point is that LSU was at 2.2 million. And now I don't have these numbers off the top, but he said basically almost half. And so got to find some basketball sugar daddies, and you definitely have to win some games. The more you win, the more you're going to get. That's why I said this about Arkansas. Calipari's got Jerry Jones and everybody else who wants to give him all the money in the world, and he hadn't won a game yet. He doesn't look good in red, but they're going to buy themselves a team. But LSU is going to have to get more support from their boosters if they want to be competitive.
Well, and here's the deal. Look,
you're just going to have to get it.
If this is where you find your enjoyment, and LSU baseball or LSU men's basketball or women's basketball, whatever it is, the money that you give there, it can make all the difference in the world. I think whether it's $1,000, $2,000, whatever it is, $500, it all adds up, and that's why the Bayou Traditions Collective is vitally important. And the way I look at it, heck, this is the way I portrayed it for 30 years when the TAF first started up. You know, I got a lot of friends who are big into Mardi Gras cruise. They spent a fortune to be in Mardi Gras cruise, between tuxedos and throws and balls and everything else. You know, that's 3 times the money there that you need to spend in an individual can spend in a collective. And so it's all about where do you get your satisfaction for your entertainment dollar. And I think there's a lot of LSU fans that like winning athletics, and you can get involved there for a lot less than you can a Mardi Gras crew. Some of you can do it all. Okay. All right. Go Irish wants to know if Buddy will wear a Notre Dame hat if the Irish win on Monday.
I don't have a Notre Dame hat. I am pulling for Ohio State. I feel like they are going to win the football game, but we will come up with something. Go Irish, I tell you what, we'll do something next Wednesday night if Notre Dame does that. Whether that a leprechaun, by the way, I'm laughing about this, but this is kind of serious. Did you see the leprechaun, the mascot, and Corso were dancing around? And, you know, Lee is not in good health, as we all know, and he's missed sometimes. And he almost had a big fall. But look, maybe the leprechaun and all that. But no, I don't think Notre Dame's the best team in the country this year, and I don't think they're going to win it. I don't think they should win it. But if they do, we'll give them props. Yep. But I don't have any Irish stuff.
Rick Cloetti, college football playoff committee's top 6 seeds are all sitting at home watching the Natty. What does that say? Tony Reese, Jaden Joe, LSU is doing business.
Well, the problem with the top 4 seeds, though, Mike, is that that's once again the committee, the way they did the seeding. They're going to change that after year 1. The top 4 conferences champions are going to get in, but they're going to seed like basketball next year. They'll have the top 4 teams regardless of what conference they're in, because that was crazy this year.
Absolutely.
Seeding was way off.
There you go, Genesis of Lafayette. Nobody does it better than them. Head over there, test drive a GV80 or a GV70. Man, they talk about the finest interiors in your SUVs. Go check out the GV70, GV80. You can't beat what you get for the dollar in those vehicles, and there's a reason why they rate highest in all the magazines. Huge LSU fans at Genesis of Lafayette, and they want to earn your business. And I was told by the folks over there that folks have seen them on the show. They've come in from Alexandria, Lake Charles, all over the state to shop at Genesis of Lafayette. We very much appreciate that. And again, go check them out and tell them TigerBait sent you. Beautiful showroom and service center on Johnson Street right there in Lafayette.
Hey, one of the reasons Tiger Woods is still alive because of that vehicle that he was in. It was so safe. And, oh, by the way, the new TGL, the new golf that Tiger and Rory just started, Genesis a big sponsor in that endeavor.
There you go. Brad DeVee. Mike, do you think Jack Besh will get drafted? If so, which round? Yeah, he's going to get drafted. What do you think? 4th? I don't know. I don't know.
The problem with Jack is going to run 4.6. Okay.
Right.
And by the way,
4th about the highest.
We hope that all of you still put the Besh family in your prayers with the loss of Tiger Besh, with that tragedy in New Orleans on New Year's. But I don't know. I mean, Jack says all the right things, but you know, where do you put him? And he's not fast enough to be a receiver in the NFL.
Well, is he one of those guys that we know he's a 4.6, 4.7 guy throughout his whole career, and then he goes to one of these gurus and getting ready for the draft, and all of a sudden he, runs a really nice 4.5 or something like that, and really helps himself. I don't know.
Yeah.
No doubt he'll be working on that.
Yeah, and he's going to work his tail off. So we wish him the best of luck, but I don't know. I'd say 5th or 6th round.
Yeah, you might be right. But again,
depends on the combine, how are interviews, all that.
S. Young, can we talk some baseball? Seeing this year's team might be special. They're going to be special.
I just went through the lineup. Monster Milam going over to short. Braswell at third base. Chris Giat, Mr. Baseball, was talking. On that left field line, man, if you play third base and you have a couple of errors, they let you hear it. So that's a hot corner. Dickinson's one of these guys that's coming in. We thought he'd play at third, but they moved Milam to short. He's going to play second. Jared Jones, once again, great to get him back. As we said, about 3 catchers.
And he feels disrespected because he's not getting a lot of preseason publicity.
Yeah. And so they are going to be really, really loaded. I would say this. It would be a fluke if they don't make it to Omaha.
I think you're right.
They're that good.
But the SEC is loaded.
It is loaded.
And I have not I haven't studied the schedule and the way it plays out. Have you?
I looked at it the other day going through it, but, look, when you have media day, you start to focus in on all that. Oh, by the way, in case you don't know this, first game of the year, Jay Johnson calls up Mike and says, "You taking the missus out on Valentine's night?" Mike says, "Yes, I am." "How'd you know that?" He said, "Okay, we're going to move the game to 2:00. So Valentine's afternoon, February 14th, the first game. 2:00 on a Friday, and you can take.
We'll go to Struby's afterwards.
There you go.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm looking at here now. Missouri to start, at Texas the following week. Mississippi State home, at Norman after that. I think it sets up pretty good. At Auburn.
They play Tennessee at home coming up here.
Alabama and Baton Rouge, and Tennessee and Baton Rouge.
Okay.
And then in the season, then Texas A&M, and then Arkansas, and then in the season at South Carolina and Paul Maneri.
Yeah.
How about that? I forgot all about that.
I saw a little clip with Maneri talking to his team.
Buddy, Jay won national championship with a bunch of players that I recruited.
Well, look, give Paul Maneri a lot of credit.
I left him Dylan Cruz
to get an opportunity, but we'll see. We'll see. I think he's gonna go over there and establish some rules that whenever you have a new coach coming in, and Paul's done a lot of good things, but I do think that people are ready for him to go, and I don't think people would trade Paul Maneri for Jay Johnson. Do you?
No.
Okay.
No.
So they got to be happy with who they have, and look, you and I talk about it. I don't know how Jay ever sleeps or keeps his wife happy because he's always working. It seems like.
Yeah. He is a machine. He can. It's baseball 24/7.
Like Coach Johnson told us one time, I don't play golf, guys. He don't have habits like he don't play golf.
I bet he'd ride in a car if there was a recruit in it.
Well, I'm sure he would.
Yep. All right, let's see. Dwayne D, LSU baseball with 3 preseason All-SEC picks: Jared Jones, Danny Dickinson, Anthony Ianson.
Iason's the pitcher coming in. Dickinson is the guy that can play a couple of different infield spots. And then Jared Jones. I don't know if I would ever throw Jared Jones anything but a curveball. He is just so strong. But we'll see. His over and under for home runs this year will probably be 25.
All right. And I got one more set of bills I got to pay here. And then we're going to wrap up the show with the rest of your comments. Capital City Grill, everybody. Got to get over there. Great food. 100 Lafayette Street, downtown Baton Rouge. Great club sandwiches, great hamburgers. One of the best brunches in Baton Rouge on Sundays from 11 to 2. You got to get over there. You're in town for a baseball weekend coming up or a men's and women's basketball game. Make sure to hit Capital City Grill on Sunday for brunch. The best chicken and waffles, I'm telling you. And again, it's almost everything priced at $30 or below for for an affordable experience. And go check out their menu at capitalcitygrill.net. They got a bunch of great photos. If your mouth don't water after looking at those, there's no helping you. And again, let them know TigerBait sent you in. And again, locally owned, huge LSU fans. Rick over there is one of the great young managers of restaurants in Baton Rouge, and just fantastic food. And you see that breakfast right there on the screen, absolutely superb. And I also need to talk about Alumni Hall, and the store is absolutely loaded, and they've got all the new LSU baseball stuff in. You got to get over there and check all that stuff out in Perkins Row. They've got the stuff, everything you're looking for. The Nike gear, the Champion, Johnny O, On Reserve, Peter Millar, Southern Tide Moore, all the great looking polos. They have all the LSU jerseys, the youth jerseys. All the kids want the LSU jersey. They've got the pinstripes. They got the gold, they got the purples, they got the gray. I've always loved the gray, been partial to the original gray that the 91 team won the national championship wearing, Chad Auger and them. But shop at the store at Perkins Row or anytime at alumnihall.com. And as always, TigerBait, all one word, you'll get 10% off. You can say TigerBait at the register in person, or if you're shopping online at alumnihall.com/LSU, put TigerBait in the promo code box, and you're going to get 10% off everything you order. All right, let's dive into the rest of these comments. Good question by Pegasus J. Mike, how many of these transfers do you expect to start for Clemson? Man, a lot of them. I mean, there's a lot of guys that were a part of this transfer portal class that are going to be starters. Let's start with right off the bat, Varian Brown, that's a starter. Braylon Moore, that's a starter. Bowers Sharp, look, are they in a 2 tight ends immediately? But he's basically a starter.
Mm-hmm.
Your edge rushers,
1 or 2 of them.
Yep.
Could be Jack Piper and Patrick Payton.
Mansour Delane, that's a starter.
Absolutely.
Your punter, Chadwick.
Safety you just got, more than likely is going to be a starter.
Yep.
Cooley.
And Patrick Payton.
Yeah.
Pyburn.
7 or 8.
That's a big number.
Hey, we said it last week. 23 incoming recruits from high school, 13 are early enrollees, 16 right now in the portal. You expecting any more?
No.
I don't expect any more
Not
right
until
now,
spring.
but maybe later on. Oh, by the way, I meant to ask you this on the show. Is this February signing? Doesn't seem like anybody's left.
No.
I mean, do you think they should go back to one signing early, or should they have the second signing first Wednesday in February? Because there's no pop for it.
Yeah. What's left?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. B. Wash, this is a buddy question. How many homers for the Tigers this year?
100 something. I said Jared
110
Jones.
or 190?
No. I don't know yet, but it's going to probably be in the 140 range.
Okay.
But Jared Jones will hit 25.
S. Young replies that and says he thinks Barry gets 30 to 35. John Sibley Butler, LSU baseball might go wire to wire first place. They will be a problem for everyone we play.
But listen, Schloss.
Dr. Butler is very much glass half full.
Well, but here's the deal. Schloss is going over there, and Texas being able to steal him from A&M with Nolan Cain and all those people and recruits. A&M is good this year, but Texas is going to be right back up there with baseball another year or 2.
Absolutely.
I think I saw Texas preseason 15 or 17. As you would expect, all of the big boys in the SEC are there. Tennessee's up there. A&M's up there. Florida's up there. Vandy's up there. You're going to have 5 in the top 7 or 8 again this year. Oh, Georgia, by the way, with Wes Johnson.
Franco Nation. Mark, are you going to give us an early prediction during the spring, or are you going to wait till the fall? Man, I'm already I'm glass half full now. Y'all know as skeptical as I was coming out of November with what they did in the portal and how much I think they helped themselves. I mean, look, it's very tricky, but I can tell you right now, I was 7-5 after Thanksgiving, and now I'm at 9-3 now. But man, that's tough. Look at the schedule. If you're a season ticket holder for LSU football, your season ticket package is awful because all the good games are on the road, meaning the tough ones. At Clemson, at Alabama, at Ole Miss,
at Oklahoma.
At Oklahoma. So you have to have a monumental run there. And A&M at home. That A&M at home is your only good game.
At Vandy.
Yeah, Vandy would
no longer a cupcake.
Right. It's not going to be easy. But you got a lot to work with. And so, that's why what would we've done this whole century. Every time LSU, the schedule flips and you got all those teams at home, that's typically the year when LSU goes and wins it all.
Those odd years, yeah.
Yeah, because LSU's typically, when they got a good team, they have success in Tuscaloosa. We'll see.
Well, the only thing I want to say for sure is that the defense is going to get kicked up a notch. I think the biggest problem with last year is that everybody thought the offensive line was going to be the bell cow position that would lead that offense to the promised land, and they just didn't do it.
The problem is 9-3. Okay, let's say they do get to 9-3, which to me will be very strong considering the schedule. All right, but everybody right now is saying playoffs are bust.
Yeah, and you got to go 10-2 to get in playoffs.
Right.
So I'm going to hold out.
I don't know how you go 10-2 at the
seasonal
schedule.
Prediction until we see what they look like in the spring.
Yeah, because how many of you are picking LSU to win at Clemson right now? You got to go 10-2.
Yeah.
So yeah,
going to be a lot of build up with the Death Valley there, and Death Valley coming back to Baton Rouge. And so that'll be a tough game. There's no doubt they're probably a slight underdog in that game. August 30th, put it down on your calendar. National TV, probably ABC. Don't know what the time will be, but man, if he goes 9-3 and loses for his 4th consecutive loss as a coach and LSU's 6th consecutive opening loss.
that's embarrassing.
Well, but there's that pressure, that hot seat is going to get not that he can go anywhere, because I still think
It's not a hot seat. It's just a negative seat.
Yeah, negative seat, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But interesting, got to call the right plays, and still got another coach to hire. We'll get you an update on that. And I've got a breakdown of all the players that are coming in that we'll talk about next week, like about 40 of them. That's almost half the new team. We'll talk in depth next week on the show.
I can tell you on our first practice report, Buddy's going to be talking about all the roster numbers and how you got to have to learn them.
Yeah. Well, look, they changed numbers so much, and you got duplicate numbers.
Half the rosters new.
Oh, by the way, 2 Andersons at receiver, 2 Greens at tight end. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, again, hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that notification bell. We always have a lot of content on the site. And again, thank you all for tuning in and being a part of the show. And we'll be back here next week. All right, everybody. Good night.